Hello everyone, so today I wanted to do a video in which I compare pictures of my body from pre-T and some photos that I took when I was 6 months on T. I just kind of wanted to see what kind of changes I've already had, and also I think it'll be nice to look back on later on in my transition when I've had so many more changes than I've had in just the first 6 months. The first 6 months aren't really known for like big bodily changes or anything, but I think it will be nice to have a look if there is anything that's changed. Yep, I will point out that I am wearing a hat indoors. I had a bad hair day, okay? Leave me alone. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get down to the corner of your video now. And let's have a look at the first pictures. So I think in the first pictures, the main difference that I can see is that the fact that I gained weight. I don't necessarily think that that's like a T thing. I was just particularly skinny at the start of the year because I was quite unwell. So I think a lot of me gaining weight is just I started eating properly again. I think where I want to be is somewhere in between the two, really. There have been less changes in fat redistribution than I was hoping, to be honest, but again, like I said, it's the first 6 months, which aren't really that well known for like a lot of changes in fat redistribution. I was also, of course, hoping for like some nice changes in terms of muscle and stuff, but as you'll know if you've watched these videos, I have a slip disc. I've been quite unwell since the start of taking T, so I've not really been able to work out, but I am getting better, so I think it'll be really nice to see the huge change that I will have kind of between now and a year on T, because hopefully I'll be able to exercise more. I've had top surgery now, so things will be quite different. I've obviously like censored out my chest, but for me, looking at the pictures, I can actually see that my chest did get smaller, so for all you out there is hope if that's something that you're looking for. I didn't think it would happen, but there has been a very, very small change, so yeah, there you go. I'm also a lot more tanned, but that's a seasonal thing, and yeah, I think you can tell like some of my skin looks really, really dark, but it's not necessarily a tan thing. You can tell that I am just really freaking hairy, and I do have photos that I'm going to do later on in the video where I compare kind of how hairy I was pre-T to how hairy I am now. I think those are the photos that we'll see the most changes in throughout this video. One kind of small thing that I've noticed that I actually quite like is that you can see that my shoulders are a lot more relaxed. My shoulders are really tense in my pre-T photo, but my shoulders look so much more relaxed in my 6 month photo, and that's really nice. I think it's just accurate to how I'm feeling, and that I've been feeling a lot more confident and comfortable with my own body. So next up, I wanted to move on to the same photos, but side on. Yeah, another thing, again, that I can see, which you can't unfortunately, is that my chest has gotten smaller. You can also see that I did get some muscle in my arms and my shoulders, so my shoulders don't necessarily look broader or bigger in my other photos and stuff, but if you look at my shoulders in these photos, you can see the kind of like muscle and the delts forming and stuff and looking more defined, and that's definitely something that's developed with minimal exercise over T, so it shows how much, even if you're not exercising much but you're on T, how much it can change in terms of muscle. However, I do think that for this angle, that's kind of it. I don't think I can see very many other changes aside from, yeah, a little bit of muscle. On a similar note, I also took these photos in me wearing a binder, so I'm going to quickly show you the ones front facing and now the ones side facing, and again, very similar to what I said before. Don't think there's much change, but I'm just shocked at how much change there is in terms of how tight my shoulders were pre-T and how kind of like hunched I was. And then I look so much more relaxed in my 6 months on T photos. It's absolutely insane. Like, I was obviously looking for like fat redistribution and stuff like that in these comparison photos, but I didn't realize how much of it would kind of transcribe into my comfort with myself in terms of like how I hold myself, if you know what I mean. Next up, we're going to go on to the photos in which I show you my body hair. I talk about body hair a lot in my monthly T updates. I will link down to a playlist below where all of my monthly T updates are, and you'll see that a reoccurring theme is just me talking about my body hair a lot. But yeah, I knew I would get more body hair, but the amount of body hair that I got is insane. So we'll start with photos of my legs. My legs are really, really hairy, and you know, you can even see it on these photos from this camera, which really just for some reason doesn't like to take photo of hair. But you can see A, that I'm really, really tanned. That's what working outdoors does to you. And B, that I'm really, really hairy. Like in my pre-T photo, you can see that my leg hairs are really long, but if you look at my 6 month on T photo, you can just see that I just have so much hair. There's just so much of it. Next up, I've got some pictures of my arms because I thought that would be interesting to look at. My arms didn't really gain much arm hair. I can see in certain places really randomly, like kind of on the inside of my arm I've gained a little bit of hair, but that's not kind of the angle that I took on the photos and you can't really see it. So I think the hair that I had before was a lot more blonde and the hair that's coming in now is just kind of darker, but I didn't gain a lot of it and it's only in a few specific areas, so it doesn't really show up on photos or anything. Well, not yet anyway, not yet. I've personally just not ever been that bothered about arm hair anyway, so it's not like I'm particularly bothered. Next up, I will show you my stomach. I am not one of those lucky people that developed a snail trail within the first few months of being on T, and I'm sad about it. I really hope that I get a snail trail because it didn't happen yet and I want it to happen. So yeah, you can see that I've gained some stomach hair and there is like my stomach is hairy, it's fluffy, but I don't have like a snail trail and I don't have like a defined bit of hair. I feel like I have more of like a, I don't know if there's a name for it, so instead of a snail trail at the bottom, above my belly button, I have this trail going up towards my chest, and I have a bit more of that than I do of a snail trail. Next up, we're going to move on to facial hair, woo! So here is a photo of my face, just from the front. And as you can see, I am again tanned, and also I do have more facial hair, and actually in my 6 months on T, I had shaved not that long before I took these photos, so the hair that I have is kind of fairly new. As you can see, I did have a little bit of hair pre-T, but it was very blondie and very, very fluffy, and the hair that I've got growing now is quite a bit darker. It's still really soft. I wouldn't say it's particularly scraggly or anything, but it is definitely more prominently there, and I've got more kind of hair under here. It's all very blonde. You can't really see it much in real life, but in photos it always shows up as like sticking out and stuff. So moving on to a picture of my cheeks, you've got acne, good old acne, thanks T, you can stop now. But aside from the acne, you can see that I've developed quite a lot of like fluff on my face, which you can't actually really see normally if you just look at my face like in real life, but in the photo you can see that my cheeks are actually quite hairy and quite fuzzy. I do have quite a lot now. Yeah, I did shave a bit, so maybe that's why I grew out more of the like, I don't know, fluffy blonde stuff. Hopefully that will start turning darker over time. Like if you look near my sideburn, I've got a lot of the blondie stuff, but now, like in the past week or so, I've developed quite a few like longer, darker hairs, but they're so like fine and fluffy as well that they're just not really showing up in any photos or videos or anything, but it's starting, they're starting to come in finally. I've not really had any sideburn growth at all, so I think once I've recovered from top surgery and I'm no longer too paranoid to use minoxidil, once I start using minoxidil regularly again, I think I'm really gonna bring in some sideburns. You can also, if you see closely, see how much hair I've got on my neck and my chin in these photos. I do have quite a bit of neck and chin hair I actually had to trim because it was getting ridiculously long, so I didn't get more of it, it just got really, really long and it was really weird, so I have to actually trim it down now to keep it at a kind of okay-ish length where it just doesn't look ridiculous. And I think I do actually have a photo of just my chin at 6 months just to show you what it looks like, so that's going to be here. So yeah, you can see that the hair is really, really long, and it got longer since that photo, and I had to trim since that photo, which just says something, doesn't it? And a lot of it is underneath here, so you can't really see it if I'm just like talking to you, but you can. There are some starting to form out on my chin and stuff, and yeah, I think there's more and more coming in every single time I look, basically, so I think definitely the facial hair is coming. So I think that'll be it for this video. I will do another one of these at a year on T. I think it'll be nice to see kind of how much of a difference another 6 months makes, and the latter 6 months of the first year on T. I think it's nice to see kind of the changes that you do have within the 6 months, because there are changes. They're not like huge and majorly impressive or anything, but they are still changes, so it's nice to look at those and then to look at kind of later on at the 1 year to see how much the latter end of the year can change. So I think it would be cool to see the changes pretty 6 months to a year and see just how much will happen in the second half, because I think that's really when things like fat redistribution and bodily hair and facial hair will really, really start to kick in. So that's going to be it for this kind of like body picture comparison video thing. Just a little reminder, I am doing a Q&A to fill in my time where I'm bored during recovery. So if you send any comments with questions or send me asks on Tumblr, which is TheSamThatIAm.tumblr.com. Send the questions in with the hashtag SamAnswersQuestions, and I will put those questions in the Q&A that I'll be doing in a few weeks' time. Sorry, my phone's going off, but my camera is also flashing, so I just have to speak fast and over the, you know, what's it called? Facebook ding thing. Oh my god, I'm so bad. So yeah, please like this video if you liked it. Comment down below if you have any questions you want me to answer now. If you ask them without the hashtag, I will answer them now. But otherwise, please submit some questions to the Q&A. It would be good to have some questions for it. And yeah, please do subscribe if you want to see my next one of these in hopefully a year on T. And also just see my monthly changes that are going to continue to happen. In a week's time from when I'm filming this video, I'm actually 7 months on T. So that video will be coming up really soon. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.